It is slavery. It's just a different name. A lot of people don't realize what it is. And when we bring these ideas to light and make people realize, that this government force is the problem.
And to me, it's like I say, imagine you're an abolitionist in the 19th century, and these slave masters are giving you the same exact argument. Who's gonna pick the cotton?
Hey, tap into the chi. Time to use the key. Remain new to make music during truancy. Tune into the euphemistic dialogue and try to stop the tyrant living in your mind inside a mitochondria. Likely on some fire, but iconoclast. Try to lock it up inside with lies of pious soccer dads. Succubus, such and such is up to this. Thunder through mundanity and suffer through the succotash. Done with it, inundate the upper class. Motherfuckers up to something troubling the dungeon master. Dumb and dunces had hundreds of them must have laughed. Probably couldn't stomach why the commoners are down with that. Clown stance, don't fucking sleep on it. Even if it doesn't seem as meaningful, be preaching it. Get yourself a piece of leaf or parchment for the reasons is your feelings are recorded and uploaded on these frequencies. Menial, recently reading into the thesis here, mirroring the people who completely fail to see it though. Seeing is believing, yes, the reason is appealing most. Reading enemies is just enables you to see it too. Menial, recently reading into the thesis here, mirroring the people who completely fail to see it though. Seeing is believing, yes, the reason is appealing most. Reading enemies is just enables you to see it too. Pikachu, leaking through the TV tube. We received the recently misleading Nietzsche sequence, dude. That's the difference between coercion and persuasion. Perfectly purveying these cures for the layman. Seeds of liberty. Read the show's description, please. Fervently complete the course, report him to the infantry. Finish him, limit break essentially. Instigates contempt among the lemmings on the precipice. Scissor kick recidivists, they won't go gently. Never mimic idiots, oppose those centuries. Those flows and pressing, those codependent. Locus, that's the closest that the rope-a-dope lower defenses. Yeah, deconstruct the fallacy. Seasonal production means it seems to spawn a tragedy. Peep the action, please, a fraction of the allegory. Corollary cadences complaining on a sadder story. Menial, recently reading into the thesis here, mirroring the people who completely fail to see it though. Seeing is believing, yes, the reason is appealing most. Reading enemies is just enables you to see it too. Menial, recently reading into the thesis here, mirroring the people who completely fail to see it though. Seeing is believing, yes, the reason is appealing most. Reading enemies is just enables you to see it too. See what we could do, meticulously leak a tune, leaping over people who retreat into the evening news. Maybe we could speak the truth, complete without the euphemism. You could get offended about the message, still a stupid system. This could infuriate the oligarchs, carbon copy caterwaulers, happy when the martyrs march. Arbitrary, hawking all the sophistry, partially monotonous and partial to the artistry. Concocted common sense argument, possibly parsing through the logs to find the error in his cognizance. Mitigate the monarchy till he is a minarchist. A simple step from there into a nihilist indifference. I'd rather keep it on some anarchistic honesty, shouting self-ownership and contradict the parliaments. Fuck a Congress's compartment, try to keep the hold, banishing the vampire with Bankai like he's Ichigo. Menial, recently reading into the thesis here, mirroring the people who completely fail to see it though. Seeing is believing, yes, the reason is appealing most. Reading enemies is just enables you to see it too. Menial, recently reading into the thesis here, mirroring the people who completely fail to see it though. Seeing is believing, yes, the reason is appealing most. Reading enemies is just enables you to see it too.
Now that you put it that way, I have the answer to that question. It's projection. That's what it is. It's not a cop-out to call us utopians. They're actually projecting their own self-hatred onto us.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Peaceful Anarchism on the Voluntary Virtues Network. And also, you can find me on theconsciousresistance.com and theseedsofliberty.com. So today I have a duo interview with Paqui Romero, Escobar, and Emil Freeting coming in from Spain. They are voluntarists, anarchists, agorists, illustrators. And you can find her work at Paqui Romero 2004.wix, that's wix.com/Paqui Romero. And so we're going to be talking a little bit about her portraits, She makes beautiful portraits with coal and with and pencil and things like that. And I assume you also paint. And then we're gonna talk a little bit about their agorist lifestyle and how that's going, and basically what they hope to achieve with their portraits. Because so far she's made some great ones of Larkin Rose, Stefan Molyneux, Tom Woods, and Lysander Spooner, the greats. So I really appreciate that. So thanks a lot, guys, for coming on the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yeah. I saw your portraits. I guess it was a few months back on one page, and I'm like, wow, that's awesome. I never never saw that. I mean, I love it when voluntarists and anarchists are using their specific talents and abilities to promote the message of freedom and liberty, and it's like the way I look at it, it's like death by 1,000 cuts. That's how we defeat or let's say get people to understand the fallacious idea of statism, why it's basically a flawed idea, the belief in authority. And you got to attack it at all angles, right? So some people do rapping, some people write books, some people write blog posts, write articles, and you guys are doing your portraits. So it's really amazing. So before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about your history and how you guys became voluntarists and anarchists. So I guess maybe Paqui, can you go first?
Okay, it's basically I've just known recently that I am so basically I've always been kind of tried to find my way, but he told me that I am those things. So
it's all your fault, Emil.
Sorry?
It's all Emil's fault.
Yes, in a way. Like I just follow my instinct and my common sense, and it happens to be that. So he's more into reading and belonging to the groups and networking.
Yeah.
And I've just been on my own, and it happens to be the same, because it has to be like, if it's the way, you will always find other people that are doing the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just to say one thing before you tell me, Emil, that kind of reminds me of the idea that everybody is fundamentally anarchist, in that we don't need laws to tell us what to do in life, to tell us what job to go to, or what profession to choose, or how many kids to have, who to marry, what to have for breakfast, what time to wake up. We all do that based on
you got me.
Just the understanding of you make your own decisions and you have free will, right? And you don't need a ruler to tell you what to do, right? And so basically, everyone's an anarchist, but they cringe at that word. It's kind of strange.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One of you touched on the point there. I often make a point about people have this affiliation to anarchy being chaos, the stereotype. Oh, what do you say? The cliche, right?
Right.
There's another word which I used to illustrate as a comparison is what's this word you say, the end of the world, the kind of scenario.
Like an apocalypse.
Apocalypse, exactly. Thank you.
Right.
That's what I think. People think that it's the end of the world,
right.
And it's the same, right? That's what people have. That's a meaning that has been attached to that word, coming through history of church reign, basically. But the origin of the world, the Greek word literally means unveiling. Mm. You're coming to a new understanding new truths, which of course would undermine the church, and it did. Yeah. I think that's such a good comparison to, and people still completely oblivious to the meaning of that word. So
yeah, I never had a good concept about anarchism. So you still tell me anarchism, and I go like, I don't quite like it, because I still have that in mind. Like, I picture the kind of people, that I don't like, and it's violent and this and that.
Yeah, Spain has, of course, a history of prior anarchy. Very more. Well, you're probably familiar with them more. They're very violent, and they stole property from everyone who happens to have property, regardless of how they acquired that property, and just claimed it for themselves. Did nightly raids and just shut people off. And of course, old people here still have that in mind. It's quite fresh, you know.
But that's in a way, that's why I don't like putting names to things. You need language in order to communicate to other people, right? But sometimes it's so misleading because I say anarchist and it has a meaning for you and a different meaning for me, just through my personal experience, whatever. So I've always tried not to give names to what I do. I just know what I mean. I do, and I've been quite individualistic in that sense. But it's nice now that I feel, well, I'm trying to belong to groups, or at least I need the sense of having other people like thinking the way I think. It's been so lonely these years.
Lonely? What do you mean lonely? Why lonely?
Lonely in the way that in the end, I felt I'm the only one that realizes that this society is not working. It's like, are you all crazy? Come on, wake up. And this feels so much better. At least I don't expect to agree 100% with everybody just because I belong to a group, or starts happening now that I start belonging to something. For example, when I met him, we happen to think quite similar, not exactly the same, but well, we can communicate. So it's changing now to that, but for so many years it's been just me looking at things, try to look at things in a straight way, not influenced by things. Maybe because I tend to think it's because I draw and I paint, and I take that so seriously. It's in the end, it's a way to look at the things, look at the world, where you have to analyze everything and try to be objective. You cannot be tricked by, lights and colors. No, you have to be clear of what you're seeing. So I apply this to the entire world, and that defines very much my personality.
Yeah, that's a good point. You go back to what you said about you want people to wake up, right? You want people to know that there's a problem. I think that a lot of people, if you ask them on the street, they will tell you that there's a problem. Like, a lot of people know that there's a problem. Like, you know what I say to people a lot is, wherever I am and I'm talking to somebody in the street, I say, you got to save your money. The economy is not doing so well. I just say that, and they're like, yeah, you're right. I know. Like, everybody knows the economy is not doing so well, right? But most people, what do they think the solution is? Most people, they think the solution is, we need the right person in power. We need to get the right laws. We need the right regulations. The government has to do this. The government should be doing more, right? Those are pretty much the majority of the solutions that people have, right? Yeah. And then when we come along and we say, no, actually, a lot of that is caused by government and laws and regulations and coercion and violence. That's like, a little explosion in people's minds. And so I think people understand there's a problem. They're just confused as to what the solution is. And they basically think more violence, more control is the solution. But, that never works, right? Because the human spirit is resilient, is, brilliant and creative. Creative people, I think naturally repel coercion and regulations and force, because you can't force somebody to be creative, right? That never happens. People are creative on their own, of their own volition, right? You can't force somebody to have an inspiration to write a beautiful sonata or paint a beautiful picture. You can't force that, right? It's like, to me, it's like touching the butterfly's wings and then it just gets destroyed.
Yeah.
Right?
No, some things don't happen because you ask them to happen. It's just I don't know, the way it is.
Yeah, and I think you can imagine here in Spain with the history here, well, you had the Franco dictatorship, fascist regime, and old people here really say that from after that it went downhill. It's like everything turned to garbage here.
When was that? When was that? The Franco
after it became a democracy after Franco died.
When was that? I'm not familiar with Spain history.
74, something like that.
Around that time, there was a transition
mid-70s,
period.
yeah.
So it happened gradually over a few decades.
But basically, yeah, sure, it was a fascist regime, but most people had more peace of mind in the sense that they were pretty safe. They could sleep with their doors unlocked. They could sleep on the lawn in the park without getting hassled. It wasn't garbage, a thick layer of garbage in every fucking side of the road everywhere. It's so much. For me, coming from Sweden, it's just, it's very clean everywhere by comparison. Not that I'm gonna say much good about Sweden. Sorry, but sorry, Bernie.
Right. Much better in many ways.
And of course, the most violent people was the people calling themselves anarchists, wreaking havoc around here. So it has a really bad connotation here. So it's that much more difficult to start discussing that, and especially with an older generation.
Yeah, and I think that's the idea that that the word anarchist is so tainted is because I think that's a testament to the power of government schools, right? Indoctrination, and basically it's like one of my favorite quotes about government school is it's an advertising agency to make you believe that the status quo needs to be kept as it is. Right, and it's amazing how so many people come out of government school, and they're not critical of the government, and then when you point that out, like, isn't that a coincidence that you went through 12 years of government school and now you support government? Yeah. Isn't there? Don't you see a connection there? Like, is that strange?
We have actually, and for us, it's like. In Sweden and Spain, I think it's the two countries in Europe where you are not allowed to homeschool at all.
Oh, really?
If you can run a kind of private-ish school, but is very, very very strictly dictated by government what you're allowed to teach and not, etc. So, yeah, there's... It's like, if we're going to have children, we're going to move somewhere else. It's not going to be Spain or Sweden, right?
Right.
So very familiar with that. Actually, when we met the first time, it was like a social gathering every Tuesday night for a language exchange in a kind of alternative cool place here in town. And she's teaching English classes as well. I did as well for a little while here, but we started talking, and first was, government is a religion and school sucks, and that was kind of it. Right? Maybe we should go out.
She's a keeper.
Yeah, exactly. So
it's clear. I mean, everybody should see that. I also blame mass media, though.
Yeah.
And this brainwash. I don't know which one goes first, but mass media, I've been fighting that so much. And television maybe is the main.
Yeah.
And together with education, and you only have to think about that for a little while to realize that if you were in the power, you wouldn't miss the chance to control the mass media.
Right.
You have to. I mean, it's common sense.
Right.
Would you miss that opportunity to manipulate the whole country if you were in the power, and you just have that, and you will just respect the regulations and laws and leave it alone?
Right.
Of course not.
I think that's the power of the internet as well. is to decentralize information. Right before the internet, you get your information from mainstream news stations. I guess you can get magazines and pamphlets and things, but very, very limited. And now, everybody has a voice, right? Through YouTube, everybody, anybody can make a podcast like me. Say anybody. I'm just anybody. Yeah. I'm just a guy with 2 kids. I'm a homeschooling father. And I decided, let me make a YouTube channel and a podcast and interview some awesome people and, spread the ideas of voluntarism and liberty. And it's beautiful, and anybody can do that. And that's how... that's how different perspectives get out there, so people can think a little bit differently rather than CBS, NBC.
Yes, this is definitely a revolution. I think internet they will try to control it, and I'm sure they're controlling, or they're finding ways to control and get into internet, and he knows more about that than me.
Yeah,
but it's definitely our chance to be ourselves and at least do more. It's like giving us wings, and we should use it more. But if our minds are still trapped in that cage, like thinking in the box, still having internet, most people are just using it for playing games and just posting selfies, and so there's so much work to do. Still so much work to do. And we cannot wake up. You can wake up more people, but I gave up on trying to talk to everybody and saying, "Come on, don't you see? I'm giving you all the facts. Don't you see? Wake up!" It's like if they don't want to see it, they will just go like, "No, I can't see it," and there's nothing you can do. Just okay, whatever. Just you will have your moment to wake up. It's not because of me.
Right. Yeah. That kind of reminds me of a quote I saw, which is that the truth. The truth is no longer hidden from people. Now people are hiding from the truth.
Yeah. Yes, I've seen that one as
definitely.
Well. Right. And the internet has done.
I forget the name now, but
say again.
I forget the name now, but there's a quote I like that is the illiterate of the 21st century won't be those who can't read and write. It will be those who can't learn, unlearn, and relearn.
Exactly.
I think that's pretty powerful.
Yeah, and even like the idea of like in the past, when conquering governments or armies would take over a particular land, one of the things they would do would be to erase their history, their archives, their their information by burning books, right? Now, you can't really burn books today because you have everything's free online. Basically, you got Pirate Bay. How can you beat Pirate Bay? But I think governments still try. Like I don't know if you've heard, but Adam Kokesh, his book Freedom, has been banned by the Department of Justice.
I heard that was hilarious. And it's what do you call it? The Barbra Streisand effect, right?
What is that?
The Barbra Streisand effect. Basically, if you want to try to hide something, you're just making it way worse.
Yeah.
You're just bringing more attention to the issue and to whatever you try to censor. And it's beautiful to see them shooting themselves in the foot over and over and over again. And they just, I think Larkin Rose has been talking about this as well. Like these megalomaniacs, they always fail because they never know when to stop. When is enough coercion, and propaganda. Just overdo it to the point that it's just not believable for anyone anymore.
Right.
So that's kind of great. They're doing our job for us.
Yeah. Things are definitely getting extreme and farcical, and I think more and more people, due to the internet, are realizing, all of the delusion that goes on, that basically is keeping them in the dark. All of the propaganda, and the misinformation, and all that's coming out very quickly, and so like things like false flags. can't really be done
Oh,
anymore
yeah.
because like people like that on YouTube and on the internet come out and they're like, that's a false, it's fake, it's a false flag. They figure out like within minutes or something, and so all these like FBI terror plots that they foil, shown to be how do you say setups, right? All that kind of stuff.
Yeah, sure.
So I think the internet is doing the best job at destroying the idea of statism, the belief in authority, right? Because why do you need to believe in a ruler that can so-called protect you from foreign people when you can go on the internet and like this chat with people from other countries that you're taught to hate, especially people in the Middle East, let's say, and it destroys borders, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I wouldn't underestimate the power of these powerful people. I'm sure they will find ways to bring us down. I don't know, maybe through economical point of view.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe, or yes, if they start banning everything, they will get the opposite reaction. So we will try to be stronger. But I think right now the way they're acting is just they want us to be scared of losing our job and wanting more and consumerism. And right now maybe that's gaining more power.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm always aware of them. I know they will find ways to get us control and just...
Go ahead, Emil.
I don't know if you a bit of change here. I don't know if you're aware over in America, but quite recently, was it about 2 years ago, they implemented what is commonly referred to as a gag law here in Spain. That it's basically illegal to criticize government or any government institution, police or etc.
In Spain?
Yeah,
Really?
we had the case this summer where a tourist that was wearing an ACAB T-shirt in a bar and got arrested and fined 600 euros.
Really?
It's like,
Yes, I knew about the new law, but not about that case. Yes, we're starting to have now this censorship again. Can't believe it.
Yeah, you're not allowed to protest in front of government buildings. And it's like period, not with a permit, or it's just period. You're not allowed. You're gonna get a fine of like 6,000 euros or a lot.
That reminds me of the Voltaire quote. To find out who controls you, find out who you can't criticize.
Yeah, exactly. I think about this law every time I see that quote. All right, so
this is getting interesting. It's like things are changing and developing so fast and speeding up, and I'm always aware that this is a unique moment in human history. It's never been like this ever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's so interesting. I don't know if I'm excited about being in this time and not any other. And sometimes I just hate it because everything starts getting fake, or it's both. I love and I hate it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you mentioned how you said don't underestimate the people in power, right? Because they always find a way to control. And
yes.
I tend to think that, I think back to what gives these people power. Like we say that they have power, right? The presidents and the prime ministers and the, and these people, the kings, we say they have power, but where does that come from, right? The power always comes from the people. The people believe they have power. And if they believe they have power, then they do have power, because whatever they say, if the people believe it, they're going to carry it out, especially the police and the military, right? All the order followers. So that's why it's so important for us to focus on talking to the people, everyday people, right? Because there's a certain percentage of sociopaths that don't have a moral compass. They don't have a conscience, right? So no amount of talking to them will change them. But luckily they're in a minority. So the only thing is to make sure that the people don't give those people power, right? And I think that should be the focus, right? So you're right. Like as long as people are following and obeying orders, then there will be, bad consequences. But that's why we have to focus on affecting the mind, and that's why the problem is not in the government. The problem is not in Washington, D.C. The problem is in the mind of the people, right?
Sure.
Don't forget about corporations. I divide this power maybe equally. I don't know how much, but it's political and economical power. And politicians, for me, are just puppets.
Yeah.
They do whatever they're told to do, I'm sure.
Right.
I don't have to be there to know that.
Yeah.
It's just logics.
Right.
So economists maybe and these corporations with their knowledge about psychology and marketing and all that is also more dangerous. We have to be aware. That's why I say consumerism is getting into people's minds and making them acting. I don't know. I don't know if humankind was like it is now. 100 years ago, maybe we were more stupid even. I don't know. We were killing each other. Maybe it's in our nature, and I shouldn't complain about this moment. I'm just curious. I wish I was able to compare more. Like I wish I was there and I could compare, because now I see like people are just zombies. Say, I cannot talk to you. Stop watching TV. Stop looking at your mobile phone. You just look at me. Look at my eyes. It's like they're somewhere else. They lost. And maybe we've always been like this. I don't know. It's a mystery I would like to resolve.
Yeah, that reminds me of a meme where you see a picture of a bus in 1950, and everybody is watching, looking at their newspaper, right? They're not talking to each other. They're looking at their newspaper, and then it says, "Yes, technology is the problem." so basically, saying, yeah, maybe. People. I guess some people are antisocial. I don't know if it's the phones. The fact that we have cell phones that's the problem. Maybe people have always been like this.
Yeah, it's exactly what I think is going to save us. It's the only positive thing about this time.
Right. Yeah.
Of history. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's got some negative points, of course. Maybe it's nothing black or white.
Yeah.
It's got something, but even if we look at contamination and plastic everywhere, at least in Spain, is full of litter. But the person who invented that or developed that of making cars and plastic bags, it's not their fault, but our way of thinking, policies. It's mostly consumerism, like this planned obsolescence that we have to buy and waste so many times. So it's planned obsolescence, basically, the problem. So if you rethink all the technical things we have right now, I think we can come up with a better way to use all the knowledge and development we have right now to be redirected in a better way. Just changing policy and changing people's minds, the way we're using things. So knowledge is never bad.
Yeah.
Technical things and what you said, technology can never be bad because it's knowledge, and knowledge is always good. It's always welcome. I would never say, but the way we do things, the way we deal with that thing, maybe is not the best. Then we have to find better ways, and I can tell you it's not the best because I know the policies are terrible.
Yeah.
The economical point of view is spoiling everything else. It's going to ruin the whole thing just because of that, because of the market, not because of the technology. That's my point of view, anyway.
What do you say? What do you say that, Emil?
Yeah, I was thinking on that note. This is a point I often make. The typical statist, anti-capitalist rant about capitalism being predatory and exploitative and whatnot. Well, people get that idea from corporatism, right? Which we will always have to tell people that that's not really capitalism at all. When we have the case is that corporations are created by governments and by law to be sociopathic creatures, so to speak. I mean, they're by law required to make more money each year for their shareholders, no consideration for employees or customers or nothing like that, not even other laws. It's like you can break the laws as long as the fines are lesser than the profit, and you just have no other regards, right? And that's not how a sound business operates. That's not how, a free market would reject that immediately if they had to compete on fair terms with other businesses. So and of course that's what drives a lot of this. As it's been a bit of an awakening here. I think here, at least here regionally, I heard a lot of people talking about this, about planned obsolescence, especially just to force behaviors. I mean, I don't know how much you have studied the subject, but electronics that are basically de facto created to break down 2 days after the warranty ends. And you have ships that are made to self-destruct or just stop functioning when you have reached a number of printouts from your inkjet, etc. And there's a lot of interesting stuff now happening. I kind of come from a hacker culture, right? I tend to. The beautiful thing with hackers and programmers especially is that they have this mind of thinking of systems and this kind of data processing mindset that there are only true or false arguments in programming, right? So that they're very easy to they often, it's a very anarchistic environment, right?
Yeah.
But and in later days with a lot of open source hardware and stuff, we were making now tools for reverse engineering stuff. So you're really taking stuff apart and really showing the code that says, okay, after 20,000 copies, die. There's other examples of this kind of stuff happening. And it began even back in the days with VCRs. So it's not a very new thing. It's been going on since the 80s, but it's been turning into a very systematic, profitable thing that almost especially the electronics industry does. So
yeah, it's like
for sure
making things functional. This community is focused on making things functional for users, and versus other products that come from a big business, a corporation, whatever, mass produced. It's not focused on serving users, but is just focused on giving money to the corporation or whatever. So it's not good for us people, but for rich people to make them richer. It's not making sense. Is everything getting worse? And it looks like it's a good thing. I don't know. People are happy to say, oh, it doesn't matter. Get a new mobile phone every now and then, every year, or even less. And I say, well, it's good. Yes, we support the development of the product by buying. But there's something wrong in that. Like, I just wanted something that is designed properly to last. So you're the designer. You want to do the best. You don't want to design something that is lacking of something, so that people are waiting for you to come next year with something better. No, you try to give it all. That's why I tried different jobs along my life. And in the end, I said, okay, I'm going to do this because it's what I do best. So it's going to come from the bottom of my heart, whatever it is. There might be people better than me. But I just try to step out of these policies and businesses and and competition and all that. It just stinks. I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
I try to do things my own way. Maybe I won't be so successful. Maybe I will, because it's genuine.
Yeah.
Hopefully. But at least if I don't succeed because I'm not so good at sales, and I'm not going to use tools that I know they're very useful and they're there for me to use them, like strategies and, especially in terms of marketing or sales, all this stuff. I don't want to use some of these strategies just because it's not morally correct to me.
Yeah, I should point out that you have a bit of a background in marketing and
yes, I studied
tourism,
like a business course in the University of Brighton in the UK, and maybe there I learned most about what I don't want to do. So after I knew about some policies and law and why we protect the environment, I was so disappointed when I studied. I chose one subject in the University of Almeria relating to tourism and environment, just to find out that we protect the environment only if it's not convenient for us in economical terms. Did you know that? So we can contribute to extinguish a species of animal, whatever, or damage an entire area. It doesn't matter. I mean, we don't care. We only care if it's bad for our economy. I was so disappointed. I couldn't keep on going that way. And I knew more things. I knew more, like in the marketing subject, you learn to manipulate people to buy something that they don't need. Okay, that's enough for me not to want to keep on going with that. And then a few other details, and I said, no, I have to find my own way. And that's why I'm struggling with this. Sometimes it's not easy.
Yeah.
But I need to find more people that think like me, and as much as I can, step out of that way of thinking.
Right.
I think it's necessary. I think most people won't realize I know it. Maybe just if they struggle, if the whole system collapses, and then we are out because there's nothing we can keep on. They won't have jobs anymore, or shops, or whatever. Okay, it's over. They will be forced out, but they won't do it voluntarily just because they feel safe. They have the instinct to follow and be safe. I compare with animals. We've been just animals for millions of years, and we will keep acting like that. So if you observe animals, you will understand very much why people act this way. And it's very risky thinking for yourself. And people don't want to do that.
Right.
It's, yeah.
No, I was just going to say, so going back to what you were saying about the corporations, when I first got into, before I got into voluntarism, I was, studying as a Chinese herbalist and acupuncturist. And so I was very interested in holistic medicine, Eastern nutrition. And then I started learning about, Monsanto and GMOs and vaccines and all this kind of stuff. And and basically, understanding how evil Monsanto and Syngenta and Dow are. And so, of course, a lot of the websites that I used to read were saying, this country banned GMOs, this country banned GMOs, we should ban GMOs. Why haven't we banned GMOs, right? And, it made sense at that time. And then I, learned about economics and about what government is and things like that and politics. And you understand, and I began to understand that banning something actually empowers the government even more, right? It doesn't solve the problem, right? And then I realized that Henry David Thoreau's quote where there's 1,000 hacking at the branches and one hacking at the root, right? So now the way I look at corporations like J.P. Morgan Chase, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Monsanto, Dow, Syngenta, BP, Gulf, Shell, all those are basically, crony special interest groups that, pander and bribe politicians, right, to pass laws that are inherently favorable to them and that crush the competition, right? So so for me, the corporations are they're like the head on the Hydra, right? And people trying to chop off the head and another one grows back, chop off the head, another one grows back. And so you're just talking about the symptom, we have to get to the root. Why are they pandering to government, right? Because only the government can use force to quell their competition, right? To crush the little entrepreneur, the little business guy who can't even get started because he has to jump over all these enormous hurdles of regulations and taxes that these enormous corporations can handle no problem, right? And and over the past few decades, corporations have gotten larger and larger, especially since the 2008 housing crisis. A lot of people say, well, it's because deregulation. Actually, there has been more consolidation, and they've gotten even more mutant and enormous. So for me, it's like So now the way I look at GMOs and vaccines and all that kind of stuff is let the market decide, right? Because we already know that the government, having the government do something will never have a beneficial result for anything, basically, except for the politicians, I guess. But so basically let the market decide, right? If GMOs hurt people, then the companies in a free market that produce GMOs will hurt people, and they won't have any sovereign immunity to protect themselves, right? No corporate shield, right? They will fall and crumble immediately, right? Because it's not good to kill your customers.
Yeah, exactly. It should be like that,
right?
But it doesn't happen because the government doesn't let it happen.
Yeah. So it's funny, like when we talk about the government as anarchists, a lot of people that are more Democrat, leftist type people, they're like, well, you just want corporations to take over and destroy the world, and it's like, actually, where do you think they get their power from, How do you think they're able to stay so enormous, And people don't realize the connection there. It's a it's like how do you say? I mean, it's a revolving door, between the top positions in government and then the top CEO corporate positions. But it's also kind of like a mutual masturbation type thing, Everybody's benefiting. That's how it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and nowhere is more important, more obvious than America, especially the FDA, of course.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous.
Right.
It's amazing that they get away with it. It's just bizarre.
So before we close, can you talk a little bit about your drawing and what you hope to achieve with that?
All right.
And your portraits.
The time already. Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, we kind of jumped a bit here, but okay.
That's all right, no problem. So just tell me a little bit about what you hope to achieve and why you started doing it, basically for Voluntarysts and Anarchists.
Well, we can share that time.
Yeah, well, basically, it's funny because I ran my own business back in Sweden for many years, and I was horrible. I was good at what I did, but I was horrible at selling my work. And I know my father was the same, ran a couple of businesses, horrible at selling his own work, and just didn't appreciate his skill and knowledge. And but I've been a salesman. I've been working in the motorcycle business for many years, so selling stuff I believe in. Like I was selling safety equipment mostly for about 7 years out of the 10 years I was in the business. And so I thought, she got lots of skills and talent, masters lots of different techniques for painting, drawing, does anything from 10 minutes pencil sketches to murals, the whole shebang.
Wow.
And and of course, I have all these philosophical heroes, both in philosophy and technology and science. And it's not none of these talking heads that you will see from on America's science television.
Like Nikola Tesla, right?
Right. Example: Nikola Tesla. You have in the first this album we call Heroes. Yes, you've seen it on my page. It's
right.
These portraits. Right? So I figured, well, I think I can sell her work, right? I'll have a bit of a. Still, there's some stuff I can do here, but I don't really speak Spanish, and not very legitimately here in Spain. So I thought, well, I can promote her work, and we can make something fun out of that, and see if we can maybe get into more, intentional agorism, starting using bitcoins and whatnot. So we came up with this just a list of names of philosophical heroes in other ways, and she was starting to drawing that, and we got a pretty good response. So hopefully we can expand on this, and it's like one of the goals is also to find something we can do anywhere in the world. So selling art over internet, using bitcoins, etc., seemed like a feasible idea. And sure enough, it seems like it's paying off. I spent, countless hours on Facebook and otherwise networking first, and I think hooked up with very many prominent Voluntaryist, etc. So we did this Heroes album, and you named a few. I have Murray Rothbard, Spooner, Larkin Rose, and more to come. There's a long list. There's probably 50 names, out of which we've done 11, 12 so far.
Wow.
Had a bit of a break the last month doing other stuff.
We'll see. One by one.
But hopefully we want to move on to find somewhere. Maybe there's a lot of new groups forming to set up, intentional communities. From you have in New Hampshire, of course. You have now in Mexico the Anarcho-Capitalism. There seems to be something going on there.
Yeah,
I've seen groups wanting to go to Somaliland in Somalia, the more stable regions there.
really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I've seen some of you guys been in that group from Seeds of Liberty podcast as well. I don't know if you've been to these. Anyway, yeah, there's some, all over the place. So we'll see. We're researching a bit about different countries where we would like to find our dream spot in the future. So this is on the way. And hopefully, I'd like to set up something like a kind of hacker maker resort type of thing that people can come and work on especially technical stuff. I'm very much since the last decade at least been active in promoting open source software and hardware, and been involved in various, especially the hardware projects, because I'm a background as an electromechanic and mechanic. Done some electronic stuff. So yeah, we hope this spread. We've got pretty good feedback so far. We've been taking some requests, and among others, you saw we pushed up Tom Woods. He wasn't exactly on top of the list, on my list, but he was there. Someone asked about, can you do Tom Woods? So, all right, we'll do Tom Woods. And he saw it and posted it up on his Facebook page and whatnot. We got really good feedback from that.
Nice.
Just the other day, we made this, was it yesterday or 2 days ago? We made the portrait of you, the three guys from you and Dave and Jeremy, right?
Yep.
From Seeds of Liberty podcast. Very good response from that. Got some other requests. You recently had on Christopher Chase Rachels, right? The author of Spontaneous Order. So
right.
he recently contacted us and wanted to portrait with a book cover of the logo, the name of the book.
Cool.
I was going to exchange some promotion there.
Cool.
There's a guy named Michael Wiswell, isn't it? That recently Paqui started to draw some stuff for. He's got some idea of a voluntarist cartoon.
There's another project.
With we have some. I don't know if it's.
Will be
You can
difficult
see.
to see.
We have
A little
some
bit. Yeah.
various sketches.
Right.
She's doing.
Yes,
It's based on Alice in Wonderland, so
Ah, okay.
Wow, it's hard to
she's
see.
yeah. Maybe
Yeah.
this one is more.
No, that's bad.
Right. Yeah. I see it. Yeah.
Oh, it's or whatever.
Okay.
Very nice.
So-
Very nice.
So
So,
that's a
yeah.
project, and it seems like
The
Yeah, he
idea
was-
is getting involved in more projects like these, and based on our skills, or my skills of drawing and his skills, he will be like PR and technical whatever sport. And I also want to encourage people not to have this as a hobby, is not having a regular job and then being idealistic in your spare time. It's you have to be a full-time you, whatever you are, and believe in yourself a little bit more, and dare to step out of this life, like conventional life, and be a full-time, real, genuine person. Although it's very risky, but hopefully if we all are brave enough, we can make a small community and support each other, and then be able to live like it shouldn't be hard. I mean, this is a developed world, and we have a lot of technical development, and it should be easy to get along with. Just make a life doing what we want, what we like. And using our skills and what we want to do. Not so much saying, oh, I have to do this just because I have to make some money for my children, and I hate it, but that's what it takes. No. Try to change your mind, and that's what we're trying to do. It's not easy, but that's what we try to achieve. Just live from it and live the lifestyle that we think we should. That is not exactly the conventional life. It's very normal, but not based on the government and on the support of the government, and it's all the things we've been speaking about.
Yeah, it's awesome. You guys are living. You're being the example of how of what an agorist lifestyle is, basically. You're living your principles.
Well, we didn't speak about that, but we are trying to grow our own food here, and I want to have a sustainable house, so living off grid and all that stuff, like 100% being just relying on ourselves, and hopefully having a small community around us, because you cannot produce everything. I've tried, but it's very difficult.
Yeah.
So you cannot be everything.
Right.
You cannot be a carpenter, a baker, a mechanic. I've tried, but don't try. It's too hard. You need people around you.
Right.
Yes, and networking, and trust in yourself a little bit.
Yeah, I support. I definitely support self-sufficiency. When people try to be living as off the grid as possible. But you're right. Like there's certain things that that's the beauty of capitalism for me, is the division of labor. Is we all do what we're most skilled in, and that's how you can contribute to the world, basically to your society, is by doing what you're most skilled in, and other people do what they're most skilled in, and by doing that, we can offer the lowest prices, and we basically make each other wealthier. We all gain as a result by offering our most cherished skills, right?
Yeah, it should be like that.
Yeah. yeah. It's like go ahead.
I said I was. That's when I moved from Sweden, from one of these for several reasons, but one of which was the ability to have more freedoms to do things and be able to live
Less
cheaper,
regulations.
right? Building a house in Sweden, because it's so cold, is really bloody expensive. So just renting or down payment on a house is also very expensive. I had a very expensive lifestyle of sorts earlier, with a big house in my workshop and double jobs, but
it doesn't make sense.
Very horrible social climate, if you ask me.
We shouldn't need.
So it's not only the weather that is cold there, but coming here and it's like, well, yeah, you don't really need a house to survive, even even though. Yes. What should I say? Yeah, lot more. What do you say? Accepted black market, so to speak. Here, the kind of unemployment numbers for Spain is at least half bogus, because most people just don't tell the government that they're working. It's not,
We can't. They make us pay taxes.
Yeah, in some cases, it's not economically feasible to tell the government you're working, because it's so bloody expensive, say, with businesses. And in Sweden, it's, that's almost impossible. The dependency on the state and the mentality about it is just horrid there. So I took the first step for me was Spain. So we'll see what the next step is, and we'll see what this leads us. And
Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
No, I said, if you think about that, life shouldn't be complicated. Like, we used to live like hunting and harvesting, and life was very simple. If you look at the people living in the Amazons, most of their time is just free time, is leisure. They have plenty of time, because after they eat, well, they have nothing to do and they just sit and chat or whatever. So what's wrong with us? Why do we work so hard, and why are we all stressed, and why we never have time to do what we want to do, and we still complain? What's wrong with us? We have more technical development. What's wrong with this world? So try to analyze what you're doing and why you do it. If you really want to do it, what you need, do you really need it? And try to lessen everything and make life simpler, and try to use the technical devices you have to help you, not to serve, to buy things. So you never have time. We already spoke about this so many times.
Yeah.
But really do it.
Yeah.
Like, why do you need 2 jobs? That means you have too many expenses. What's wrong? You have to take the list and keep only 10% what you really need.
Right.
The rest can just go to hell. That's what we're trying to do here. Sometimes it's difficult. We struggle, but it's worth to try. I think we are getting things done. I go by bicycle everywhere, and almost everywhere. I keep the car, but I try to work with less things and just keep the basic and see what happens. If it doesn't work, it should work, because it's worked for millions of years. We've been living without so many things, and it worked, and we're still here. We're surviving. And so just trying to do that and get it right. And if it doesn't work, at least we tried. That's what I was going to say.
As for our agorism, we really managed to reduce our costs. I think that's not only like getting to trade with other agorists, but for other people's, my advice would be like really work hard on figuring out where all your money goes first.
Yeah.
That's because inevitably you're gonna pay, what's it in America is a VAT, right? You're still paying in
what is
money.
it?
Pressers. VAT, the tax on food.
That's in England.
No, okay, what's in America?
Taxes.
You call it something else.
What, sales tax?
Yeah, sales tax.
Sales
yeah.
tax, okay. Oh yeah, I mean,
So
I mean,
Yeah.
talk about taxation, like more than 50%. You know, I mean, like I think like 40, for something like 40% goes just income tax, and then including every other tax, it's like I don't know, 60% is gone.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's the same. Scandinavia is really horrid in
It's
that.
the most, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Denmark, I think, is worse in the world, but Norway, Sweden, we're pretty close. And yeah, here we have an ability. I can grow food year round. That's a huge step up for coming from somewhere where the landscape is white half of the year,
Yeah.
Oh, really?
and the sun is gone for half of the year. Here it's no such a day as a day without sun. It's no such a thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, it's quite rare.
I just
And,
miss the rain.
Yeah, I don't have to pay a fortune to heat the house. We just pick some branches from the pines outside that fall down and light up our stove for 20 minutes a day or
Nice.
something. That's
Yeah.
sufficient in a house
Or
with
step
almost no
out.
insulation.
Yeah.
So that's a big relief.
Beautiful.
Yeah, as you say, we're drastically reducing car use.
Yes.
Working brilliant, and
Just analyze
we're
what
getting
you do.
slimmer and sexier by the day. So.
It's
I
worth
don't know
to
what
try,
else.
yes. If you try to think, maybe I had an accident when I was young, so I had to analyze everything like from the beginning. Like when you question absolutely everything and take nothing for granted. And that's when you realize that there are things that you are doing that you don't know why you are doing it. Just inertia. And then question everything. I want to encourage people to question everything, not in a bad way, like being annoying, like a little child questions everything. It's so annoying. Not that way. Sometimes it looks like that, but it's not because of that. That's not the point. It's because you need to understand if you're doing something because you need it, or because of inertia, because you're following other people. But you really don't know what you're doing or why you do it. You don't know that you don't need to do that. Really, you don't need to do it.
Right.
Just experiment. We are here to experiment. We are not here to follow the rules, to follow the steps, and making everybody happy and until the day you die. And then you realize, just the last minute, you realize you wasted your life.
Yeah.
I don't know if some of you probably had this feeling sometime in life. It's mostly when you're in a very dramatic situation, like you're about to die or you lose someone, like somebody dies, and then you think of life and think, I've been wasting my entire life. Don't wait until that moment and just think, you're here, this is beautiful. This world is way more beautiful than what we think. It's to experiment. It's to try everything. And life is so much more than this society and cities and routine. Get up in the morning, go to work, pay your bills. It's much more than that. That's something. It's ridiculous. if one day you happen to be about to die, you will be so sorry. You'll say, I wasted my entire life. There you are.
Right. That's a good point. My wife, she sometimes is kind of disappointed with me because I'm doing this, but I'm not making much money with it, right? And so she's like, you could be with the family, but instead of the family, you're doing this. And the way I look at it is, I'm doing something for the future, right? I'm not only taking care of my kids and, making sure they go to museums and reading them books, like that's good too, but I'm also doing something to ensure, or to help ensure, that their future will be much better than my life was, right? And so it's kind of an investment into the future. And so, that's the way I look at it. I think, we have to do our part, to make this world a better place, right? To make it more beautiful. And,
Yes.
when you leave this world, you should, the way I look at it, you should live your life so that people will, feel your absence. So the world will be poorer because you're not there.
Exactly.
right? That's
Well, yeah, it will be more obvious with you because many people can enjoy your presence. Some other people maybe are not. If it's a carpenter or someone who works in an office and, I don't know, working with computers, nobody will notice so obviously, but still, you believe in what you're doing, you're leaving something there for other people, you're helping, or at least you're helping to yourself, at least you're someone as well. and it's good that you are doing what you believe in. I think that's the only purpose in life, and doing things genuinely, not because you have to get some money or be competitive or be better than someone else. That's a waste of time. That you might think that makes you happy, but I don't know. Maybe it's worth for some people. I don't want to get into that too much, but for me, it has to be something meaningful. My time here has to be meaningful. And if I can, I have to help others or give something, like leave something here. Maybe that is, how do you call that? Working for others.
like magnanimity or compassion.
Now he had some technical words for that, like collectivism, isn't it?
Well,
yes, you're working for others. Okay, yes, I think everything has to be flexible. Yes, I'm working. I like making others happy or their lives better, and I work for others, of course.
Right.
Every time I work for money, so I exchange something.
Yeah.
And there is a collective. We live in community, and that's why I find it difficult to define myself. Am I agorist, collectivist? I don't know what I am. I every time I start a conversation, I try to remember before we start chatting, we define terms,
Right.
so that we agree.
It's important.
Yes, that every time we use a keyword, at least keywords, we agree in the meaning of that, because it tends to be slightly different. And then we get engaged in endless conversations and debates, and we think we're not understanding each other, but we are. If we define the terms and we agree in the meaning of one term, one word, we would all agree, I think, mostly.
Yeah, so the way I look at that is, I think you can tell people when you talk to them, a basic principle that voluntarists stand by is, if your ideas require force, your ideas are worthless, right? So, like you said, you like to help people, give, make people's lives better, right? Or maybe donate to people that are less fortunate, maybe that, and so that idea is why we don't need a welfare state. Why people think people think, without the welfare state, who's going to help the poor, right? As if
they wouldn't be poor.
As if they don't. Well, that's another thing. But as if like voluntary charities and donations don't already exist, right? And they do. Okay, so I don't want to keep you any longer. So please let people know where they can find you guys if they want to follow your work.
Yeah. So her website portfolio is Paqui Romero 2004.wix.com/Paqui Romero, and that's Paqui is Paqui. And on internet, I go by the handle Cali or Calip everywhere. So Cali P. Tratus, which is just a made-up thing I use on Facebook for their name convention.
And you said it means chameleon. You said, right?
Yeah, I used to rehabilitate reptiles in Sweden. I had a bunch of different lizards and snakes, and my favorite was the chameleon, the Yemen chameleon, and the Latin name is Camellia calyptratus. So it's
cool.
So, but all my online friends and hackers around the globe, they know me as Cali with a C. Caly. And I'm sure you can find me commenting on Seeds of Liberty podcast or Anarcho-Capitalism, Voluntaryists, Agorists, all these various black and yellow Facebook groups and pages
Right.
I frequent. So, and I keep this album of portraits of our heroes there on Facebook. And other than that, I use, since I don't really like this corporate social media, we hackers, I call myself a hacker, but I'm not a programmer, I'm a hardware guy. But we use IRC, so I ran a couple of channels on Freenode. So it's ## Voluntaryism, # Agorism, and # ANCAP is some of the channels I have there. Not much traffic yet. We have also #permaculture for people that like growing their food, which I think is kind of the first thing you should do if you have the possibility as an agorist. So and there I also go by Calip on Freenode IRC.
All right.
So hopefully I'll attract some IRC users. There's not many outside of geeks. But
nice.
Yeah.
And Paqui, so you're under just Paqui Romero?
Yes, I also have my Facebook. I had to set up one of those professional Facebooks.
The pages.
The page. And right now, just where he said, we're sharing all that.
Beautiful.
So.
Yes, so we're looking forward to seeing more of your work, and I hope people will visit your site and purchase some of your work, because I think that we have to support each other as voluntarists and agorists and anarchists, right? Support each other conceptually as well as monetarily.
Yes.
Right? Because even though we hate currency, we all live in the monopoly on currency, central banking paradigm, and we need it to survive somewhat, on your way to being off grid. So in the meantime, say again.
We keep using money, but we try to earn money. Yes, honestly, the way we want.
Right.
Not working for others, but doing what we like.
Right. So you accept Euro and Bitcoin, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Preferably.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's the way to go, folks.
All right. So I assume they can pay for it through your website, right? Pay for
we don't have any information of that. We do it on personal.
You should probably set up. You should probably
have a conversation with us, and we'll arrange individually.
Yeah, I recommend also PayPal. I think that's easier for online transactions.
I do have a PayPal account.
Okay.
So you can pay for it. I discourage
Can be both.
from that.
Yeah,
So
they
I push people to get into Bitcoin and pay in Bitcoin.
Right.
Yeah, there is that possibility, of course. I got both PayPal and a Visa, but
right.
don't support banks.
Right, of course not. But awesome, great conversation, you two. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. So looking forward to seeing more of your work in the near future. So if anybody wants to help out my show, you can do so through PayPal, Bitcoin, or Patreon. Actually, that's another way you guys should do. You should set up a Patreon account, patreon.com, for any kind of content creator. They have musicians, painters, whatever, YouTube channels, podcasters, or even like movie producers, or anybody making films or documentaries. It's a great way to raise capital for that. So my Patreon is patreon.com/peaceful anarchism. To help me out, and you can do a one-time donation, or you can do a monthly donation, like $1 a month, $5, $3, $5, whatever you feel the value of this content is to your life. Please feel free to help me out, because I love doing it. I love interviewing these magnificent people, and I want to do more of it, because if you want to see something, if you want to see more of something in the world, you need to pay for it, right? That's the only democracy I support, is voting with your dollars, right? So you want to see something in the world, you want to see more of something, you patronize that, right? You pay for it. So that's how, you exchange value for value, right? That's the way the market works. and
That's right, yeah.
Yes, and the same thing with these guys. So thank you very much, everyone. So this is Peaceful Anarchism on the Voluntary Virtues Network, and theseedsofliberty.com and theconsciousresistance.com. Wishing everyone have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye.
Bye.